Good morning, riders. Welcome back to Ride the Six Motorcycle channel. You can tell from the last video we have another project bike in here. This is the 2007 Suzuki GSX-R 750, GSX-R 750. Here is the rear swing arm. I'm kind of trying to find a way to kind of get this bike kind of put together, lift it up a little bit, because I don't want to be working off of this dolly. So I'm going to start work from the bottom up on this bike, and that's going to be the rear swing arm. So, I mean, all our mounts are already on the bike. This is the rear shock. There's part of your, well, this is the kickstand. I just have that up because I've been cleaning the bike a little bit. But yeah, our rear swing arm and stuff is going to mount here, and the rear shock is going to mount here. And then once we get that on, maybe be a little bit easier to lift the bike up. As far as I know, most of the bike's intact. I have a lot of the parts over there in the bins. So yeah, I figure I got to start on this bike because track season's coming. And I've been cleaning the bike up, and what I've been using, this is the best cleaner ever, guys, I'm telling you. I went to Canadian Tire today, and I picked up a jug of kerosene. Now, I've already done the swing arm here. Like, you should be able to see it, but look how clean the chain protectors and stuff are. I've gone all underneath. Everything is clean. I'll get a better shot later on. But yeah, kerosene, if you really want to get into these nasty areas on the bike, like probably down in here, up around the front sprocket. I haven't hit this yet, but I have hit this area. You can see how it's, like, look at the kickstand. This was covered in grease. Look at it. It's brand new. You can't even tell. So the kerosene does a super job. Obviously, you want to do it in a ventilated area because you'll probably get high on the fumes. But yeah, it works great, guys. So best cleaner out there, kerosene. All right, so that's what we're kind of working on here. Now, I've got another little project here to kind of go along with this. This is like a mount or a hanger. It's used for straps and stuff. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a hanger up there. I'm going to drill straight through the 2x4 and mount that hanger with the 5-inch long bolts, washers. And you can see the bolts have a square head on them to match the, I guess, the mounting plate for the hanger. So if I do need this bike to get lifted up, that's the plan. Put a little hanger right there, lift her up as much as I need to. I didn't want to buy an engine hoist or anything like that right now. I don't really have the space. As you know, I have a fair number of bikes in. There's the Z900 I'm working on. So yeah, that's what we're working on, guys. This is going to be episode 2 of the GSX-R 750 rebuild. And I'm hoping to get it on the track this year, maybe. So let's see. All right, stay tuned. So the first thing I wanted to bolt up was this kickstand. I mean, essentially it's the lowest part on the bike. But you can see here, this bolt is okay. This bolt, someone has cross-threaded this bolt or something. And I'm going to need to kind of re-tap this, because you can see it's not going in on the same angle as the other bolt, right? So I won't be able to do this until I get the bike up in the air. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this swing arm here mounted today, and the rear shock. I have the manual, and I have all the torque settings for all the bolts. I was able to find this bolt in the bag of bolts that came with the bike. Of course, I'm going to grease it up and clean this up a little bit rusty, but I have sanded it down with some I guess just a light, I forget what they call this. It's kind of like a sandpaper, but not a sandpaper. I don't know, like an emery pad. I don't know what it is. But anyways, I've kind of cleaned that bolt up a little bit, and we will be greasing this bolt up as it goes through, I guess, the rear right there. So yeah, so the kickstand thing's a failure right now, but everything's intact. The wires are all here. The sensor's all here. So I'm just going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to see if I can't get this rear swing arm bolted up. We're going to try to put this rear swing arm into the frame. I have this bottom bolt here just temporarily in, just so I don't have to hold this piece. And I'm going to roll this piece ahead. I've already greased up these two little bushings here that roll on the roller bearings inside the swing arm. So we're just going to roll that ahead up into this point basically, and try to get that swing arm axle through, and at least get it in place, and then I can bolt it in, torque it in later. So I have the rear swing arm in its approximate location. Not quite exactly there, but I just got to fiddle with it a little bit, line it up, and slide this axle through. Of course, I'm going to grease the axle up a little bit. Never hurts on rotating parts and moving parts. So yeah, we kind of have the swing arm half on the bike. Let me get that little center pin axle in. So I have the swing arm in position. I was able to get the hinge pin through. We're just going to tighten this through now to the other side. As you can see I have a special adapter that I bought from Amazon for front axles and stuff like this. So it's actually a 24, I believe. No, it's a 19, sorry. This is a threaded, as you can see, it's a threaded axle type setup. I can feel it on the other side. I really don't know if this is going to come tight or I just have to put a nut on each side. I want to go check that out right now. I think it'll just continue to thread through as much as I go. So let me leave that there for now. It's in. The threads are all the way out to the other side. And let me double check, because I think I have the other nuts. Yeah, here we go. So on this side, it's going to be this guy, right? And then on the other side, it'll probably just be, actually I don't think that's the right one, but yeah, actually it could be. This could be the nut for the other side as well. So essentially you need to torque both of these sides in. I think the center hinge pin just floats, and I don't know if I have the tool for this, so I may have to hunt for that. There we go. So I have the top bolt temporarily in for the rear shock. We have our bottom bolt in where the linkage attaches, and we have our, I guess, our axle, our swing arm axle in. I'm probably going to go to the store, see if I can't pick up this tool here. I do not have a tool like this yet. And then I'm going to torque all this stuff down. But essentially right now we have the rear swing arm on the bike. And I believe now I hopefully can get my rear spool stands under this. And then maybe I'm going to have to lift the bike a little bit and then maybe get my headstand under the triple trees. So I'm hoping to get this thing up in the air here today. Let me run to the store, grab some of these little bits. I have the 27 mil socket for the other side of this axle here. So it's just this little piece I need. Pretty sure I don't have it. If I do, I don't know where it is. Alright, stay tuned. I'll be right back. But we do have a swing arm physically mounted to the bike. Alright, it's another day. I've made a mess of my floor by drilling. And there you go. I've got a nice hook here. I have it bolted right straight through the 2x4 all the way up. I have a washer and a nut up on top. I don't know if I can kind of see it up here. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Washer and a nut Um, hopefully it won't pull through the wood. I don't think so. I mean, it'd have to be pretty heavy to pull through a 2x4. But yeah, so the goal is now we're at a position where we can get that Gixxer 750 lifted up. I just want to lift it up enough to get it on the head lift and put the rear spool stand on it. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here. I was just kind of thinking like a ratchet strap. The only problem is if I release the ratchet strap, it's not going to drop very gently. So I'm thinking about maybe getting a little chain hoist or something. You know, I can just lower it down gently maybe. But I don't know. I might try the strap first, but then I don't know how I'd get it down, right? So, yep, let me see what I can do. We got to get this Gixxer lifted up. It's time to get it off the ground, get the wheels on it so I can move it around and kind of get things together and see if it's going to start, because I don't even know if it's going to start. I have a really good feeling that it will, but I'm not 100% sure. Stay tuned. I also picked up a new set of ratchet straps. These are snowmobile motorcycle UTV. I don't know. I guess your universal terrain vehicle. I don't know. Anyways, these are rated for 1,000 pounds. I think each. My other straps are just little green ones. I don't think they're rated for 1,000. Maybe they're rated for 500. So I'm gonna just try to get a couple straps, one on each side of the bike maybe. We're gonna go up to the hook, and I just want to lift the bike enough to get the rear stand, to get the rear end pointed downward and get the rear stand on the bike. After that, I could probably move it around a little bit. So let me see what I can manage here. I do have some soft ties that I could go around the frame here, so nothing will get scuffed up. But yeah, let me get that set up and let's take a look and see how this is going to work out. I'm a little nervous, to be honest. There we go. Soft ties are on. These are great little things for towing bikes and stuff. I don't have to clip anything on the frame. Nice soft material. So I've got two on each side of the frame here. And I'll probably take two straps up. I just don't want this thing to come smashing down. So I'm taking extra precautions, double ties, and we're just going to give it lots of strength. I mean, it's not going to break two of these ratchet straps. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and then hopefully I could just ratchet it up slowly if I can. I don't know how strong this ratcheting action is. If there's any weight on it, maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. I'm going to find out. We're going to see if this will work. If not, I'm going to have to get something else. Here we go. I've got my ratchet straps. I got one on each side. We're going up to our hook. And like I say, I don't want to lift it too far, too long. I mean, I built this pretty good up here. It's like I've used some nice metal corner joists and stuff. Like, it's built pretty strong, guys, to be honest. I can hang off it, and I'm probably over 215 pounds. I mean, the bike's a little heavier, the frame, the motor, and the swing arm. But I don't think we're pushing any more than 300, 350. So, I don't know. Let me see if I could jack this up, but I might get a hand just in case. There we go. I was able to lift the bike enough to get the stand under it, swing it backwards, got the rear stand under the swing arm, and then once I got the front stand underneath the triple tree, I just readjusted my straps just to kind of keep some tension on it. I don't need it coming down. The next thing I need to do on this bike, I don't have the key, obviously, because the bike was in pieces. I may be able to trace down the original owner, possibly, and I might try that and see if he has a key, because this was a theft bike, I believe. So if I cannot get the key, I'm going to have to remove the ignition. So the next thing I'll probably do is I'll probably take the triple tree off here, pull the ignition out, and then, because right now the steering is locked on the bike. So this bike was definitely probably stolen in the locked position, I would assume. So it can happen, guys. Keep your stuff protected. But yeah, let me see if I can find the key for the original owner. If not, we're going to pull this top triple tree out and pull the ignition out and put her back together. I've already bolted up the rear shock absorber. So I greased up this bottom bolt down here
and torque this together, 36 foot-pounds. Same thing up top here, the top shock mounting point. It's also 36 foot-pounds. You're going to need 3 different sizes of sockets to do that. You're going to need a 17 mil down here on the bottom. On the other side, you're going to need a 14 mil for that nut. And then up top, you need a 12 and a 14 mil there. Now, we've also bolted in the hinge pin, or whatever you want to call it, for the rear swing arm. This hinge pin only gets torqued in at 11 foot-pounds. Not very far, not very hard. The nut on the other side of that hinge pin gets torqued in at, I think it was 72.5. And then now we're going to torque in the final piece, which is this special little locking nut washer, whatever you want to call it. And in order to do that, I had to buy a tool from Amazon. I do not have this tool, so I had to buy this. This is I believe it's a 19 mil, but it's specifically for this Suzuki GSX-R, and I will probably put a link to this in the video description if you're looking for this piece. I'm going to show you where to get it. Cost was about $35 Canadian, not too bad. So with that being said, let's get this torqued into place. The final setting on this is 65 foot-pounds. I have my trusty Husky socket impact thing here. Let's see here, make sure we're going the right way. Yes, okay. So let's torque this in properly. This is the final bolt for the swing arm. 65 is a fair bit. There we go. You heard it snap. 65. So we're good. We'll double check it again. We're good. 65. We're good. Let me loosen that torque wrench back off. I don't like leaving them set so high. I usually drop them down about 15 foot-pounds. Okay, there we go. We're right around 15. We'll lock that back in. We'll shut the wrench off. And this is what I'm saying, guys, about having the right tools. Without this tool, you're not going to be able to torque this in. I mean, good luck. You might be able to invent MacGyver something, but buy the right tools. Alright, the next thing I want to bolt up, now that the swing arm is done, I want to bolt on the rear subframe. So I'm going to go find that in the box, and I'll be right back. We're going to bolt that baby in. So I've kind of separated my harnesses here a little bit. I have a left and a right harness. I also have some, what I suspect to be throttle cables and or exhaust or something. I don't know where they're going to go just yet. I'm just going to move them out of the way. I know they don't go back into the tail section. The only wire I kind of rerouted here was a little bit was this. This is probably our rear brake, I would assume. So I just kind of routed that down here. I don't know exactly where it's going to sit, but it most likely sits down there by the pegs. So in order to make way for this rear subframe, these guys were nice enough to like leave the bolts in the frame for me, which is like superb. These are larger bolts, and they probably cost $5 or $6 a piece. So again, it's stuff I don't have to buy. And like I said, whoever dismantled this bike in the first place, incredible. Like, take the bolts out, put them back in. I don't really understand the reasoning yet, but hopefully we'll find out here shortly. I'm going to take out the bolts from the other side as well. Alright, there's our 4 bolts. I'm just going to put them up here. They're probably just going to roll off on me anyway. Let me grab the subframe. I cleaned it up a little bit. Now I'm just going to kind of set this into position, and I guess our harnesses are going to have to tuck in, I'm going to guess along the side of the subframe here. Maybe a little tricky. There might be space to route them in. Oh yeah, we might be okay here. We might be okay. I thought maybe I'd have to kind of guide them all in, feed them through an opening. They actually might be okay here. So I just kind of tucked them up along the edge of the subframe. We have to right and left harness. Let's bring this thing forward. All right. So to make this easy, I'm going to get one bolt in. Actually, I'm not going to be able to do that because I have the rear shock in the way. I'm going to have to lift this forward. There we go. Hopefully get a bolt in. And may need to grab a large T-handle. Magic, it's the right size. Again, would probably be easier with a second set of hands, but we don't have that luxury all the time. I just need to get it close enough to get the first one in. Oh, there we go. Oh. I just need to get one bolt in here, and it'll kind of hold it in place for us. There we go. Okay. Let me get one bolt in the other side. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera there, guys. Okay. And I will bolt in the other two bolts very loosely. I never tighten anything down until it's kind of in its final resting location. And these bolts may require some Loctite as well. I'm going to check the manuals. I always check everything. Okay, so we have our right and cable harnesses in. Let me get the fourth bolt in on the other side here. Just going to tighten these in gently. All right, there we go. We are snugged up. And as far as I can tell, this is the location of our cable harnesses. We have our ECU harness on this side. I may have to fish some more of this up through the frame. And we have kind of everything else here. I guess this is probably our flasher relay or our start relay. But yeah, things are kind of in place. Let me go check the drawing. Let me see, just double check, make sure everything's in place here. I'll get the torque settings on these bolts. We'll torque those in as well. So I couldn't find much information for the bolts and stuff here in the manual. Well, I actually did find the spec on the bolts. It's 36 foot-pounds, but there's not really a lot of information telling you how to mount it or anything like that. There's just one little brief mention of the bolt. So we're going to go to 36 foot-pounds. I've already torqued in the other side. So we're just going to torque in this side quick. There we go, 36. All right, there we go. So what Suzuki calls the seat rail is installed. I call this the rear subframe, but Suzuki calls it a seat rail. So we're torqued in 36 foot-pounds on both sides, and now we're going to start looking at the wiring and the cabling and stuff up inside here. Start get some electronics mounted possibly. So after some fiddling around, I was able to kind of get as much stuff in place. I mean, I tried looking at the drawings. I tried to look at all the wiring, like how it's supposed to be routed.
This is the best that I can come up with on my own. This would be the right side harness. I have these two little dangly bits here. I don't exactly know what they are. One could be a signal relay, possibly. Like, I just don't know. There's one more mounting post here, but it's almost like these things don't mount on that post. I was able to get this one mounted, and we continue up the right side. We just have our ECU harness here, so we know that's good. The harder side was the left side, trying to figure out where everything goes. You had to be careful here. The wires were a little short on this guy, but I continued up. I figured out that this is where our little, I guess, our little start relay, or the main, essentially this is our main fuse, but it's all built into like a little housing here, and it clips on just above the ECU. Hopefully you can see that, like right there. There's a couple little tabs for the rubbers, and then that red positive comes back down to the battery, and there is a little tie wrappy thing here that you can reuse, so I'm going to tie that up when everything's done. And there's one piece way back in the back here. It's hard to see. This one took me forever to figure out how it mounts. There's a little metal bracket, and it mounts right here through one of the seat brackets. And I think that's your start relay in the back. This is your main fuse here. And yeah, it took me a while to figure that out, guys. Trust me. And then the only thing I have left floating around here is my little fuse box and these two little guys here. So essentially this bike is wired up electrically. We have our two lines here for our exhaust butterfly valve. This piece is broken. You can see right here that plastic piece is broken. It's supposed to house that metal fitting. There's a guy around my area who has a Gixxer he was parting out, so I'll probably pick this part up off him. And there's a little metal sleeve here. I found the screws in my bag of screws. I just magically picked these out and they worked. But I'm missing one sleeve here as well. So I'll be working on that. This will be a future project. Not too distant future, but very soon. And yeah, essentially our wiring's all ready to go. I have this little piece here, and I know that that goes there. But again, I'm going to have to hunt for the screws to see if I have those. Maybe, maybe not. And then this little piece here, I don't know where it goes. I think this is for a helmet lock, but it looks like it seats there. But I haven't found any other place where it would go, so I'm kind of hunting to see where that goes. Feel free to leave a comment, guys, but I think that's part of a helmet lock, or I don't really know. So it's going in the battery box for now. This piece, I got to find the screws. So that's going to go in the battery box for now. But yeah, overall, we have our electrical harness essentially connected. I haven't disconnected anything up front. I haven't disconnected anything on the airbox. I definitely haven't touched anything down in here on the injector side. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. I haven't touched any of that stuff. So I almost had it right. I had this harness on the left side, I had routed all the way up, but that's not actually the correct way. You have to bring it in just past where your battery tray is, and then you've got to route it this way. And this is where your fuse box clips on. I still kind of have these two dangly bits here. It looks like something attaches maybe to the other side of the fuse box. These wires are short on this thing, so I'm thinking maybe it's this little guy here. So I don't know. I still have these two little dangly bits here to figure out, but I'm thinking that guy attached to the side of the fuse box somehow. This could be, I don't know if this is a tip sensor or some kind of something silly like that, right? But yeah, these are the last two little tiddly bits I got to figure out there. But yeah, I had this in the wrong spot, guys. I had it way up here before, but I rerouted the cable, and we still have everything up here. We still have our main fuse. We still have our start relay in underneath, bolted under the seat. But yep, made a little oopsie, but should be fixed now. So I think this is a really good stopping point, guys, in this part of the video, because we're at the point now where we need to get into this motor here. I don't even know if the thing turns over. the motor, the frame was sitting on a skid outside, but it was wrapped up, I gotta say. I mean, the airbox hasn't been off, so there was no water that should have entered through the top of the motor. The exhaust side was kind of exposed, but I don't know. It looks pretty good. I took a quick peek in there. But yeah, anyways, we got quite a bit accomplished here in this episode. We got the rear swing arm on. We've got our seat rail bolted up. We have all of our electrical connections and harnesses in the proper place. We have our exhaust servo thing here, which I may actually eliminate completely. It's not probably needed if this bike's going to end up on a track anyway. And yeah, still got to deal with the key. But yeah, the next step is this motor. I got to see if there's any oil in it. Like, it's looking like it's really low or none at all. A little bit worrisome. But yep, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop your comments in the video below. And in the next episode, we're going to tackle this motor and we're going to see if it actually turns over. If you're out there riding, guys, ride safe.